Let's jump right in, because everything we thought we knew about building a successful product moat, it's completely changing. Welcome to this explainer. Today we're unpacking a really fascinating manifesto we came across from the Specky blog. It's basically an essential survival guide for the 2026 product landscape. If you build, manage, or launch products, you already know the ground rules are shifting incredibly fast right now, mostly thanks to the rapid acceleration of AI. The core argument here is that our old defensive strategies just aren't enough anymore. So we're going to break down exactly what this new landscape means for your organization.
Right off the bat, I want to ask you a question. In a market that's being aggressively accelerated by AI, what is the ultimate competitive advantage in 2026? Seriously, take a second and think about it. If you asked a product manager a few years ago, they probably would have said, oh, it's having the biggest engineering team. Or maybe it's a flawlessly planned 3-year roadmap. But things have evolved dramatically, and those traditional metrics of success, they are rapidly becoming obsolete.
And this brilliantly illustrates the paradigm shift. The old moat, think of it like this massive, impenetrable stone castle, was all about flawless execution, sticking rigidly to feature roadmaps and maintaining strict processes. You measured success by how many features you shipped on time, but that old moat is gone. The new moat is a rocket ship, high learning velocity and rapid adaptation. A traditional feature roadmap just won't save you when the market flips overnight. The product that wins today isn't the one with the most features, it's simply the one that adapts the absolute fastest.
So what does this actually look like? Well, the formal definition of learning velocity is the speed at which your organization notices what's changing in the market and then ships a different answer. Notice that two-part punch right there. It's not just seeing the change, right? It's actually shipping the answer to it. Learning velocity is your new moat. It's literally turning your organization's reaction time into a measurable, competitive weapon. If your competitor takes 3 months to notice a shift in user behavior and another 3 to act on it, and you can pull off the whole shebang in 3 weeks, you win. It's that simple.
Let's look at what happens when you prioritize the speed of discovery over just blind execution. The benefits totally compound, creating this amazing, sustainable advantage cycle. Companies with high learning velocity spot signals way before their competitors do. They catch those tiny behavioral changes in users early. Then they quickly synthesize those signals into working hypotheses and test those ideas in days, not quarters. And finally, they compound those small learning cycles over and over. It becomes this accelerating flywheel of market intelligence.
All right, moving into the next big piece here. This requires a massive shift in the product manager's role, from just being a builder to being the architect of how fast the organization learns.
To pull this off, the first step is transitioning to ruthless signal collection. We absolutely have to stop relying on slow, outdated methods like quarterly surveys. You need real-time feedback loops. I'm talking about constantly gathering intel, a sudden spike in support chats, a weird drop in a features usage, or just a random comment in a continuous user interview. Every single interaction is a vital data point. If you aren't ruthlessly collecting these in real time, you're basically flying blind in a very fast-moving storm. Next up, we have to recognize that raw signals are just noise until they become connected evidence. One single support ticket? That's just a complaint. But 50 support tickets, combined with a dip in a specific usage metric, plus a user interview highlighting workflow friction, now you have a pattern. It's like a giant puzzle. You have to link these research tickets and data points together so you can actually see the bigger picture instead of just drowning in isolated data.
Third, and this is a huge mindset shift, stop shipping features and start running experiments. You gotta frame every single decision as a testable hypothesis. Instead of asking, will this huge feature we spent 6 months building succeed, start asking, what is this tiny, fast test gonna teach us today? It drastically compresses your feedback loop. You aren't shipping to finish a roadmap anymore. You are shipping to acquire knowledge.
Finally, you have to synthesize those learnings into shared context. Because here's the harsh reality. Actually, think about it this way. Learning simply does not compound if it's trapped in one PM's head or buried in some forgotten Slack thread. If only one person understands why user behavior shifted, your organization hasn't gained any overall velocity. You have to create shared understanding, like dynamic roadmaps, so engineering, design, and marketing are all moving together with the exact same context.
Okay, so how do we actually pull this off? Let's take this from theory into the concrete playbook for building this velocity engine in your own company.
There's a really stark contrast between old habits and the new velocity playbook. Take perfect planning, for example. Perfect planning assumes the market is standing still, and it takes time you just don't have anymore. A bias towards shipping, however, means getting a small bet into users' hands instantly for quick feedback. Rapid iteration beats perfect planning every single time, for sure. And, perhaps most importantly, it requires shifting from measuring execution to institutionalizing curiosity. To make that cultural shift happen, you have to measure your discovery cycle time. You can't improve what you don't measure, right? Turn your learning speed into a hard metric. From the exact moment you get a raw signal, how long does it take your team to form a hypothesis and ship a change? Is it a month, a week, a day? Track that duration and make it your team's primary goal to aggressively shrink it down.
Now, think about this number for a second. 200. There is no way you can manually read 200 user interviews fast enough to maintain high learning velocity. It's physically impossible for a human to sift through that volume of qualitative data and connect all the subtle dots in real time. This is exactly why automating your synthesis with AI is a completely non-negotiable step now. The tools exist to process this instantly. If you aren't using them, you're running at a human pace in a machine-accelerated world.
Ultimately, you must institutionalize curiosity. You have to make learning part of how your team is evaluated rather than just the sheer volume of code they push. If engineers and PMs only get bonuses for hitting a quota of features, they're going to blindly ship features whether anyone wants them or not. You have to reward the discovery of truth. Reward a team for proving a hypothesis wrong quickly, because that knowledge literally saves the company months of wasted effort.
I absolutely love this quote from the manifesto because it perfectly distills the whole shift. The future product management is less about doing and more about knowing. Executing the wrong thing quickly is still a total failure. The competitive landscape is going to be dominated by teams who spend their time learning. They're the ones who truly understand the customer because they've built the internal systems to listen, synthesize, and test at absolute light speed.
I want to leave you with this final thought to challenge your current strategy. Take a hard look at how your team operates tomorrow morning. Are you relying on a rigid, comfortable plan that assumes the market will just stand still? Or are you actively building the fastest learning engine in your space? Because in 2026, it's not the fastest coders you take all, it's the fastest learners. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and we'll see you next time.